It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast. Each week we bring you 5 minutes of condensed inspiration to reclaim the courage and momentum you've given away. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. This week's Powerback is all about identifying the aspects of your brand that make you really cringe every time you see them. Because the first step in evolving your brand is identifying what those pieces are, and more importantly, why. Change can seem kind of daunting sometimes, especially if you've invested a lot of money, have cases of unused brochures or pocket folders in your closet somewhere, or you're just not even really sure where to start. Change is really part of an evolution, and especially when it comes to your brand. You have to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day, and Facebook didn't become the number one social media platform by doing everything overnight. Like in 24 hours, Mark Zuckerberg wasn't like, and now we have the most famous platform on the planet. We often get wrapped up in perfection and timing and what do we do and how do we do it. The majority of small businesses have some portion of their branding or marketing that they're just really not happy with or feel like it could be better than what it is, but aren't sure how or why. When you look at the big picture, your website, logo, different campaigns through like email marketing or print ads, your business cards, brochures, the whole 9 yards, it can feel a little bit overwhelming to know where to start and how to evolve those things, and even if you should change them at all. This week, I want you to take your power back by identifying the top 3 pieces of your brand that make you literally cringe. Like I'm talking when you look at them, you're like, oh my gosh, if anybody sees these, my business is going to crumble to the ground. Okay, that may be a little exaggerating, but you know what I'm talking about. It gives you that feeling on the inside. Maybe it's a brochure and the phone number of your business has changed, so you've whited it out a couple of times, or you've got that, seriously, I can't tell you how many people have that case of something that they invested a lot of money in, and at the time it suited the company really well, but now it's just not serving you any purpose other than taking up space in your closet. But even beyond the cringeworthy test, there's a couple of questions that you can ask yourself to evaluate where to start. First and foremost, ask yourself, look at all of your materials and say, are they working for you? We often hang on to old materials just for the sake of holding on to them. But if you're going to meetings and you're not feeling prepared, or you're saying, oh, I wish I had, this is a really good time to consider evolving your branding and your marketing materials. So if they're not working for you, then why are you using them? And then what do you need in place of those items to feel successful? Do your materials align with who you are now, and most importantly, where you're headed? A lot of materials are not created to withstand the test of forever time. I mean, your business is going to evolve, your market is going to evolve, the needs are going to evolve. So take a look at your materials and ask, are these a really good representation of who we are as a company now? And if not, outline your goals so that as you start to rebrand some of these pieces, you know what the focal point is all about. Ask yourself if you're speaking to the same target audience. So your customers today may look and sound and feel very different than the customers that you had 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. The most successful branding and marketing campaigns lean into the customer's pain point and offer them a solution to alleviate that point from their life. So if you're not talking to the right people, there's an opportunity to really evolve some of your materials to ensure that you are talking to a captivated audience who is really looking for what you offer. And one of the easiest tests is to get all of your materials. I'm talking every single piece, whether it's a printed piece, your social media platforms, your website, print out screenshots, lay everything out on a table or on the floor and take a glance. Now, if you stepped back and pretended like this was another company, in an instant, would you be able to tell that this is materials all created for promoting the same company? In other words, is there a cohesive look and feel to it? Are they using all the same colors, all the same fonts? Is the formatting and imagery similar? Is the content, does it sound the same throughout all the pieces? Consistency is one of the most important aspects of your brand because even though you see it probably every single day, most of the world is interacting with it for the first time. And if you've got green and blue here and an old logo there and this font here, and I was feeling spunky today, so I've got this funky font over there, it's really challenging to build top-of-mind brand awareness with the public when the public isn't even super positive that they're looking and interacting with the same brand each time. While these questions may not guide you to exactly where you need to start and exactly what you need to do, it should start to open up your mind to start to notice some of these things on a regular basis. I know that budget is almost always one of the top questions that we come across, and that's one of the beautiful things about evolving your brand or starting a new brand is, again, you don't have to rebuild it or create it all in one day. And if you're listening to this thinking, Laura, please just help me. I really don't know what to do. Good news is at Works, we have this really cool thing called a brand scorecard where we evaluate all of your pieces and give you a step-by-step guide on the next things to do. So if that's something of interest, visit worksgd.com. It's worxgd.com to order yours today. Join me next Tuesday on the Gutsy Podcast as we peel back the layers and talk about the power behind vulnerability. Oh, there's so much power in knowledge and knowing what other people are going through. So to ask you to be vulnerable, I'm going to share a vulnerable story with you guys next week. Until then, follow the Gutsy Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, or you can follow along my shenanigans on Instagram at ThatLauraOra. See you next week.